on southern coasts. Lowest temperatures 4 degrees Celsius down to 1 below. Now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power, the greatest football partnership since Shearer and Owen.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then. What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
Well, I'll be honest, I'm tired and I'm sleepy. I'm in a carb coma after what you did to me.
It's just registered what you're saying.
I need to have a lie down.
How good were those chips?
I feel disgusting.
Leo Burdock has produced yet again.
I couldn't stop eating them. I was eating them because I had a burrito about an hour beforehand and I was eating those chips and I was saying, I'm full. I can actually feel I'm full, but I just wanted one more hit of salt every time.
And you only wanted a couple, didn't you? A little.
Yeah, and you brought me back what seems like a large bag.
Well, I had, funny enough, I didn't tell you because it wasn't the most interesting of stories, but I had a moral dilemma.
Do tell it on the radio.
Had a moral dilemma halfway back. I forgot a bag of chips because Pete, the producer in there, asked for a portion when I was going out the door.
Producer Pete, yeah, does a fine job.
But I was so thrown, just kind of lost me focus as you do when you go into Leo Burdock's, just like walking into like Willy Wonka's factory. So I left myself a singlet chips short. So halfway back, as I was ripping into one of the singlet chips, it kind of hit me that right, I'm a bag short here. What do? Do I phone Joe and ask him if he's prepared to share his chips with producer Pete?
I would have been.
But then I thought that's putting you in an awkward position. I'm leaning on you there a little bit. It's a leading question, isn't it? If I'm buying you the chips and I'm asking you, will you just accept that? You're morally obligated to
Can't really say no.
Agree with me, yeah. I wrestled with it for about 20 seconds and hightailed it back and
Did you?
Yeah, I got another portion.
You're a solid human being, do you know that?
There you go. It was a pleasure.
Me and Pete have the same second name as well. I would have shared chips with Pete, no problem. Producer Pete, of course.
Nobody likes sharing their chips, particularly Leo's.
Our actual producer JP is seething in there right now.
I deliberately bought some fish bites with me chips.
It's ignoring that.
So I wouldn't have to share mine.
Yeah.
It's not as easy to share a box. When you got the fish bites on top, it's not easy to get your fingers in there and offer them. People understand if you don't offer your chips. If you've got fish bites on top.
Can't be doing that.
It's a get out of jail card.
It is.
For not sharing.
Well, either way, very generous for you to walk all the way down, come back, chips for anyone who wanted them. But honestly, I'm feeling stretched right now. Stretched.
You're not being fed. You're missing not looking after you.
There's a gut on me right now. It does not need to see the light of day anytime soon. So, by the way, I should update people on what's going on in the Championship. We have West Brom away to Reading. Big game, obviously. It's just 1-1 in that game at half-time. Reading 1, West Brom 1. The other game at half-time is at the Britannia. Stoke 0, Preston 0. Oh, I'd say it's windy at the Britannia tonight. That was no fun playing there. Don't even lie to me. Miserable, I'd say.
I did experience it a couple of times. Yeah, conditions was always, just psychologically, you just need to get your head around it.
We used to have thicker pop shields for the microphones because the wind was so bad at the Britannia.
Yeah.
It seemed to be open in all four corners, so a gale could fly off the end.
Yeah, but I missed that. They're few and far between, those type of, well, they're disappearing by the year, aren't they?
Yeah, gone.
And that was part of the challenge going there as an opposition player, having to deal with that.
I'd say you knew you'd be heading the ball that day as well. Millwall 1, Fulham 1. Were you going to come in on that?
No, I was just going to say, I watched a bit of the West Brom fly there at the weekend in Millwall. It's a Hurricane Kira, was blowing in over there in the UK.
It was a storm, Kenny.
As opposed to Dennis the Menace, which is moving in this weekend.
No hurricanes.
It was close, but I thought the result they got at the weekend, West Brom, was significant. I know there's plenty of games to go, points to play for, etc., but the conditions, never easy going down to the Den anyway. I thought they handled it really well, West Brom. I thought that was significant, that result there.
Right, well, their 1-1 second half has just started against Reading this evening. Elsewhere, Bristol 3, Derby 1 after an hour. We have Cardiff City winning away to Huddersfield 2-0 after an hour. And we have Luton Town 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. And it's 1-0 between Millwall and Fulham in the game in front of us here on the TV after 62 minutes. Funny, actually, mentioning Championship and all the challenges it throws up. We had Damien Delaney on last night, and we were just asking him out of interest, how did he find Championship versus Premier League? And there's obviously different areas where they differ. You know, the media attention is one. Even he was saying, though, the difference between 46 games a season and 38 games a season, he was saying is huge. When he got into the Premier League at 30, so he was saying it came at just the right time for me because the slog of the Championship, we can underestimate it.
No, I think it's a fair point. And just even basic stuff like travel. Even where your club is, like distances covered. I mean, the difference between like Premiership clubs, we all know the money involved, but I'm guessing the majority of Premiership clubs, certainly when they have to travel some distance nowadays, it's a flight. It's probably their own chartered flight. It's as simple as that. That goes for the majority of teams. But that was few and far between when I played. Certainly at Championship level, it just doesn't happen. You know, you drive to the nearest point of meeting point, leave your car and hop on the coach, and then it's like 4.5 hours up, 4.5 hours there back. And even that, having to deal with that, even almost like travel fatigue a little bit, amplify that with the amount of games that you're playing. So over the course of the season, kind of takes its toll. But it's like what I'm talking to you about, going up to Stoke and having to deal with those individual conditions, the playing environment up there. That's part of it as well. That's actually the beauty of Championship football, and that's the kind of satisfaction at the end of it, if you can actually conquer that and at the end of the season achieve some level of success, whatever that is, making the playoffs. Maybe it's staying up, it's actually getting promoted. It looks like West Brom, I think, are going to do. So that's the kind of satisfaction of having to deal with all those obstacles in front of you. But it's grueling.
I'm not getting the violin out for you here, but with all the travel, it is one of the downsides of being a footballer, that travel constantly, even at the very highest levels. You know, did you find it a right? Did you really?
Yeah, I loved it because
4 hours in a bus.
Yeah, but the buzz, great card skill. Oh, card skill. I'm not talking about betting here. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about card skill. Myself, couple of lads, Dave Connolly. Dave Connolly was my man. I'm thinking even the Ireland team now. Like just passing the time, but great buzz.
Okay.
Yes, and even then it was like somebody put a DVDs, wasn't it? People brought the DVD collections with them. There used to be votes what DVD would go on because everybody didn't have their individual stuff. It was like the big TV at the front of the coach, to one at the back if you were lucky. But just great.
You'd no problem with that?
No, I love that, particularly off the back of a good result, away from home, a long trip back, but onto the coach. Fish and chips, keeping on the theme of fish and chips. Fish and chips waiting for you. 3 points in the bag, great buzz around the place.
Oh, I thought you meant 3 points. 3 pints, all right, okay, sorry.
Yeah, 3 batter sausage, whatever it was. Yeah, that was great though.
Okay.
The buzz, I wouldn't dress it up as hard us, like 4-hour grueling, because that wasn't the case. A bad run of form, maybe you're not enjoying it, maybe a little bit different. But generally speaking, that was all part of it. And particularly I think it became early in your career. You experienced that early in your career and you worked up to maybe an opportunity to play at Premiership level, which I would have done. I would have played Championship football more or less for the first five years, and then the opportunity came for me to play Premiership. So maybe then you appreciate it a little bit more, and you look back maybe with a little bit more nostalgia, as opposed to the opposite.
Yes.
Playing Premiership football for 8 years and then feeling maybe a little bit hard done by having to go down and experience Championship football. But I never found that. I love my time in the Championship.
Damien Delaney always strikes me as well as quite a strong character. So I was asking him about, for instance, 7 million people watch Match of the Day. And is it difficult if you've had a bad game and Alan Shearer is literally drawing a circle around Cunningham saying he had a shocker, it was his fault, he messed up there. And Damien was saying, I never paid any heed to it. I barely watched Match of the Day. It didn't, I knew how I played. That was all I cared about. I did not care about the media
He was
circus.
never in Saturday night. David Delaney was never at home 10:30 on Saturday night.
That's the more important point.
He lived in central London.
Yeah.
He had a flat in central London.
He was having a
5
great time.
5 minutes in the West End.
Yeah. What about you? Did you find fun having your performances? Look, you weren't.
No,
They weren't analysing you every week. I know, but was it a weird thing to have that level of scrutiny?
I suffered with that a little bit. I understand what Damien's saying, and if he had, that's how he felt. He could harden himself, and he had a kind of rhino skin.
Yes,
absolutely. That's the ideal. Although sometimes I'm not sure it is such a. I don't think you should switch yourself off to criticism. For me, and I kind of learned that I was always quite open to it. In all honesty, in terms of a different opinion, whoever it was, a coach or a teammate or somebody on the television, wherever. I always that wasn't easy for me, because when I was younger, a bit of criticism would sting. As a young player at Millwall, a reserve team player, even a little report in the local South London press used to cover the games. And maybe if there was a 5 out of 10 or there was a comment about Cunningham just caught out position, that would sting a little bit embarrassing. I definitely felt that when I was younger. Probably hardened myself to a little bit as I got older, but never to the point where I didn't want to hear criticism. Yeah, it was almost a conscious thing where I don't actually agree what you're saying, but I'm prepared to listen to it on the off chance you might throw something at me that I think, do you know what? Initially, I wasn't really agreeing with that, but actually, I think you got a fair point. So, kind of used to keep an open mind to those, to criticism. I wouldn't totally block it out, although I can understand it.
And so, how many Premier League goals did you score?
Where's this come? Where's the link there? That's
Sorry, there's a follow-up question. How many?
There is a follow-up question.
100%. How many?
Premiership goals.
Premier League, yeah.
One.
One, okay. So I'd say that night...
No, I take that back. No, half that. Actually, don't even half it. -1. Even a half wouldn't be correct.
Oh, gee. Oh, no. Is that your tally? -1?
No, I scored it was a championship goal that I scored.
I want to know
that's why I'm
Premier League.
taking that back.
Premier League.
Premier League. No
Never
Premier
happened.
League goals.
Because my question was going to
Oh,
be...
you knew the answer to that.
I didn't, actually. I presumed you must have had one bang off your ass and go in one day. My question was going to be, did you rush home? Everyone, match of the day is going on. Quiet. Because what a brilliant thing to have that moment.
I think that goal is somewhere that I scored. I couldn't tell you, but no, I mean I don't.
Would you watch Match of the Day as a Premier League player? Did you watch it?
I would have done. Yeah, I think I would have watched. I can't really remember. I wouldn't have been rushing back. I was a bit older then.
You weren't, but you weren't that bothered. I want to see myself on TV.
Oh God, no. Oh no. At that age, you'd be more bothered about getting a copy of the game and sitting down myself on the Sunday and looking back at it. And we talked about analysis earlier, post-match analysis, and have a look at individual stuff and what I did and what I didn't do.
Fair enough.
That type of thing. So. No, but there's always a bit of ego there, isn't there? I don't think I wouldn't say necessarily massive ego. I needed to be fed and all the plaudits and all that type of thing. But I suppose if you're being totally honest with each other, it's nice. Someone says something nice to you, walking down the street, whether I was playing Birmingham and shopping centre, somebody come up and say something. It's nice. It's nice for people to say. It's nice to hear it. And thanks very much, appreciate that. You don't need it. You don't crave it. But somebody takes the time to come over and come whatever it is, like.
And like the fact that you were walking down the street in your Birmingham City jersey, incidental.
Shin pads.
It was just coincidence.
Yeah, some clubs are different to others. Small towns, you can't get away from that. Bigger towns, what it is, you can kind of disappear. I never had a lot of that. I didn't get a huge amount of that. But occasionally when you did, that's a nice. But certainly when you get older, you have to harden yourself to it. That kind of that criticism.
Yes.
But like I said, I'd never dismiss anybody just because they're being critical of me. I would listen. I wouldn't necessarily agree with them. And as you get older, you get kind of quite strong in your opinions and how you see things. Like, but I'd always be prepared to have a conversation with somebody.
And as a pundit now, because this came up with Pat Nevin on Monday Night Show, and it was an interesting enough chat, because Jordan Pickford had said he wasn't happy with something Gary Neville had said, and I was asking Pat Nevin, who's been a pundit for a long time now, do you ever say things and then feel a certain kind of guilt or remorse or a certain feeling of, geez, I'm sticking my oar in, I don't even know what's going on with this player in their personal life. For all I know, the reason he's not playing well is actually he's heroically battling through injury and doing everything he can to get himself on the pitch every week, and I don't know that, and I'm saying he's lost a yard of pace or whatever. And Pat was saying he's always aware of that, and once or twice very early on he kind of wasn't so sure. So you haven't gone from a real player's player, I feel, to being a pundit and even doing Ireland matches. Have you ever kind of left a TV studio, radio studio, and thought, wish I hadn't gone that hard on someone, or is that something you struggle with? No,
not particularly. I think language is important, how you kind of project yourself and how you actually articulate yourself. So you can make a point, but I think it's really how you put it across, which is important. I mean, plenty of times I've come off, I'd say plenty of times, by occasion, I've come off TV and radio and thought, I was sloppy, that I really didn't articulate what I wanted to say there. You'd be a little bit frustrated, a bit annoyed with myself. Not that I would have been hammering somebody, but it didn't really make me point as eloquently or as clearly as I wanted. So that's the kind of frustration. For me, it's no. I mean, if I never found myself in a situation where, no, I'm going to back off that player. I used to play with him. I have a relationship, like he used to be a teammate. So, no, I'm going to back off criticism. Never. I always felt as if, if you're going to step up and you got to do it right. But it's how you dress it up. You can make a point. You can be critical really without hanging somebody out to dry. And I think that's changed a lot the last few years in the media. I listen to a lot of players now coming out of football, looking to fill the void. Some players will be coaches. Some was, not too many of those jobs around. Next thing is the media, which is great. There's only a finite number of jobs available. So why are you going to give you the job ahead of the fella next to you? What have you got to offer? Maybe, you don't have to be, the cleverest to think, well, I've got to offer something maybe a little bit different. Maybe I have to be a little bit more controversial, a bit more hard hitting. So I think that's prevalent, and I think you can sense that a little bit with people, that it isn't genuine. It's a little bit of an act. It's a little bit of theatre in terms of what they're putting out there. So that kind of grates me a little bit. I'd like to think I've never gone down that particular avenue, but it's not easy. Pat's right, because I think if you have a relationship with players as teammates, even if it's like 10 years ago, I think it's a natural thing, even if you might be best buddies speaking on the phone every day. But I think it's a natural thing. It's not easy to come down reasonably hard, like. And say the Solskjær criticism, I'll say as an example. A lot of talk about the ex-Manchester United players, ex-teammates of Solskjær. Oh, they're looking out for him, giving them a get-out-of-jail card, not being as critical as they should be. Oh, that's, But do you know what? I can understand it. And I actually admire it a little bit, because I think, do you know what? Those lads haven't played together for 10, 15 years. But you can still sense there's a bit of togetherness there. There's a bond there still between them, where they're a little bit reluctant to push each other under a bus. In this case, Solskjær. So, yeah, does he deserve criticism? And at certain times, yes. Do you have to be honest? Yeah. But the fact that you can still tell there's that bit of reluctance to really go after him hard, I actually admire that a little bit. So I look at that group and think, well, do you know what? That's an indication. That's why they were as successful as they were. As great as they were individually, technical players, etc. You can sense that bit of togetherness, that spirit might still there. 10, 15 years later, it's still there. You can still kind of get a sense of it. I actually have a little bit of admiration for that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. A few things to put to you then. It's been a while since we've talked, so there's lots going on. I'm interested, by the way, so Liverpool are awesome. There's not much more we have to say about Liverpool at the moment. Jordan Henderson, in the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, has emerged as the current favourite for Player of the Year award. Van Dijk is obviously, he's kind of next favourite, looking to be the first to retain it since Ronaldo retained it in 2008. So, Henderson, talk to me. I know he's probably been underrated in some respects. I didn't think he was quite Player of the Year in that team. Where is he for you? I'm not saying he's a bad player, by the way. Don't get me wrong. We're talking Player of the Year.
I don't think I can say much more. I think I've been vocal enough. I haven't spoken. I know we've had this conversation a couple of times and news talk in regards to Henderson, his role within the team, which specific role of that midfield three best suits him, and he's so versatile, so adaptable. He can be equally effective in that holding midfield position at the base of the V, but also as an advanced number 8, which he's played predominantly when Fabinho's been in the team. So that's the beauty of Henderson, his versatility, his ability to be as influential as he is in 2 different areas of the pitch. And people might say, well, he's playing centre midfield, what's the difference? There is significant differences in playing that role, that holding midfield role and that kind of advanced number 8 in terms of what's expected of you. And he can actually do both. Fabinho can't. Fabinho can only play at the base of that V. So in terms of his performances this season, I think he has been outstanding, Henderson. Not just that, I just think in terms of his mentality, how he kind of carries himself, personality, around the place. There's plenty of them in that Liverpool team, but he probably epitomises it more than most.
Yes.
So I think it's a bit of all of those things where I think it's a fair argument that he's thrown up there in the discussion, not only in terms of team of the year, but in terms of the players' player of the year. Yeah, I think he'll go close, but I think he could argue the case for a number of. This is probably the only year for a number of years. I think you could make an argument. Is it 6 players were nominated for a player of the year? I think you could make an argument for four of those players being Liverpool players.
Henderson, Van Dijk, Robertson.
Robertson, I'd put Mane. I think Mane and Firmino actually as well.
That's 5.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. That's not going to happen because we know the way the game works. Maybe 2, 3 max of those players will get mentioned if they're lucky. But apart from that, you're kind of struggling. We're talking Vardy. I think is fair enough. Ings in terms of what he's achieved.
Sorry, I'm still staying on Liverpool, so Alisson should be in the shortlist.
Yeah, I think so.
Trent Alexander-Arnold should be in the shortlist.
Yeah.
Mo Salah has scored more goals than Mane and Firmino.
Yeah. I don't buy so much in terms of the front three. He scored more goals, so he's had a more influence. I'd actually argue for me, if you look at Firmino's stats, are just behind Mane and Salah in terms of goals and maybe just assists. But I'd actually argue Firmino maybe the most influential of those front three this season, maybe just ahead of Mane. Those games over in I watched those games in the Club World Cup, the Monterrey semi-final, Monterrey in the final against Flamingo, and Firmino was the difference. Like 2 key goals in the semi-final and the final. Now I know Club World Cup or whatever, but still high-profile game, pressurised situations.
No, it's inadmissible. It's inadmissible.
The quality, it mattered to me. Those 2 games in particular, I looked at Firmino. Everybody knows how good a player he is. And I just thought, wow, this lad he's actually getting better, more of a grown influence. So you're right.
So should we, whatever about
well, I think it is,
should we be at 6 Liverpool players?
You could make an argument for those 6 players being Liverpool players.
Who's the strongest non-Liverpool argument who should be in the shortlist?
I'd probably lean toward Vardy, but I'd also throw Grealish at Aston Villa.
Yeah. Great, yeah.
I just think his age, he's 24 years of age, promoted last year, performances have dipped significantly this season at Aston Villa. Team has really struggled, confidence at a low ebb, but for me, I haven't seen one game where I've looked at him and thought, you've dropped your level today. Haven't influenced the game. Every game, regardless of circumstances, winning, drawn or whatever, team not playing well, he's been consistent. Give me the ball, I'll make things happen. And I actually think the more I look at him, and I have looked at him a lot, and you could compare him to different players. Maddison is the obvious one. Leicester, I'm a huge fan as well, but there are significant difference between the 2 of them. And Grealish, for me, actually stands alone. Maybe Foden and Manchester City potential in terms of style of play. The ability that he has, the technical ability to receive the ball half-turn, play in tight areas. You could be talking about Maddison and a number of other players. But the ability to get on the ball in tight areas and actually drive at people and actually commit people and go around them and draw players to him. That little burst acceleration over 5-10 yards, tight control, head up looking for the next pass. That's almost like kind of Gascoigne-esque. There hasn't been too many of them the last couple of years. Jack Wilshere maybe at a young age at Arsenal had that bit to travel with the ball, draw players to him and actually go beyond play, a little burst of acceleration. That's unique, Joe, and Grealish has it from what I've seen. And if you're asking me end this season, a lot of talk now what club he's going to go. I think he will go. If I had a magic wand at Manchester United now and I was a Solskjær and I could get Pogba out tomorrow and get one player in, I'd take Grealish.
Well, he's been linked with United today heavily, as has Sancho, who it seems is leaving Dortmund as well.
Grealish is the one. I take Sancho away, different type of player, brilliant young player. But in terms of being an influence and actually driving that club, that club forward from and I'm talking more of a creative point of view. Pogba could have been that player. I still think Pogba could be, but if his heart's not in it, doesn't seem as if you got to get him out.
Yeah.
And if he's going to go in the summer, for me, there's not too many of those players from a creative point of view you can bring in and it can really elevate that team. He's got the kind of personality and the individual footballing qualities to take United where they need to. I think he's that player, and he's almost possibly the only player in the Premiership at the moment that I think can do that.
OK, so we'll put him on our shortlist along with 5 Liverpool players. Who gets the Kenny Cunningham vote?
Wow. I'd probably lean towards... it's a funny one, just over halfway during the season. People are going to be voting on this before the business end of the season. That's always significant. Say, look at Sterling. We haven't even spoken about Raheem Sterling in terms of that top 6. But a month ago, it wouldn't have been up for discussion in terms of his numbers.
Well, a month ago...
Goals, assists.
A month ago, it felt like Mane was the main man. And then for about 2 months before that, it was Van Dijk.
Yeah.
We've had Henderson month now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm talking down Henderson. He's been fantastic, and I totally understand what you're saying as well about the intangibles, i.e. his presence in that team and in the dressing room, which is obvious to everyone.
It's not just that. I think it's not just that. It's how effective he is on the football pitch.
Sure.
He's Liverpool's best defensive midfielder. I've gone on record. I stick by that.
Have the people who attacked you over Fabinho been coming back to apologise?
I don't know. That's what you tell me. You get the... Although I will say, one of my best pals in Dublin, massive Liverpool supporter, begrudgingly sent me a text, I won't name him, a couple of weeks ago to that effect. And I know it hurt him. To say it.
Kenny, I was wrong, you were right.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's be so interesting in terms of how Klopp sees it going forward. They'd let it go. So Liverpool's season now to the end of the season for me is all about Champions League. League is done. So everything now has to be tailored around the Champions League. Even in terms of what teams he puts on the pitch for the Premiership has to be in terms of looking forward to the game away in the Metropolitano and then the return leg at home against Atletico. And how he sees that, the only discussion is that Liverpool midfield three, back four, front three picks itself. The only discussion for me is Fabinho or Henderson in that holding midfield position. Fabinho plays, Henderson will play in advanced, probably Oxlade-Chamberlain, the third man, maybe Wijnaldum. But for me, that holding midfield position is absolutely key, because Liverpool will never get a better chance. Liverpool are going to be dominant for the next maybe 2 to 5 years, but they may never be in this position again in terms of putting back-to-back Champions League titles together.
Yeah.
And I think they're favourites at the moment. I think they're best prepared, best suited, the strongest squad to go and do it. But the pull of that Premier, the fact where they're at the moment, you know that pressure's going to build. 6 more wins for the league, 5, 4. You know it's going to be absolutely manic up there on Merseyside, the first league title. As long as they don't get too distracted, be consumed by that to the detriment of their Champions League, because it's not going to take much. One half below par performance in one of those Champions League first, second leg, and you're out.
Yeah.
The quality of opposition, you're out. It doesn't have to be Madrid or Barcelona, it can be anybody. Dortmund could do it, from Bayern Munich. Any number of teams on the day could be good enough to put 2 or 3 past Liverpool, and it's all over.
No, it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see how they handle all of that. And as you said, it's going to be manic on Merseyside around the time they win the league title, and very emotional. And that's where Klopp, you'll see what a brilliant manager I suspect he is. You haven't given me an answer.
No,
who did you vote for?
I don't get a vote being a...
I understand that.
No, I'd lean towards Henderson. Yeah, I really would. And that's not buying into like the Van Dijk, he won it last year, he should forget about all that, just purely on this season. Yeah, for me, Henderson.
Do we have Gary Breen clip, JP? Producer Pete, do we have Gary Breen clip? Here is, stick in your headphones there. Have you got them? This is a... How many times have I say this?
I don't know. It's around somewhere.
Have you got your headphones?
Yeah. Somewhere. Go on, just play it.
You can't hear it if you don't have headphones.
I can lip read them.
Lip read them. Okay.
I can read them like a book, really.
I'll put up my headphones loud and hold them out to you.
Right.
So here is Gary Breen with Nathan. He was talking about his player of the year this year.
I think the players more than anyone, certainly more than the press, because you're right, the press will have their favourite as such, and he's obviously a darling of the press right now. But Van Dijk, if you're telling me in terms of the player, you take Van Dijk out of that Liverpool team, you can't replace him, and they would not be so far ahead as they are right now.
If you had,
and we talk about people winning games for you, Mane, and I've always said this: strikers win you games, defenders win you leagues. And if they don't have Van Dijk, if they didn't make that signing, they would not be winning the league. I think every player in that Premier League who will have come up against Van Dijk look at him and just think, my God, you are exceptional in terms of your physical presence. You can deal with robust centre forwards like Andy Carroll. You can deal with quick ones who drag you out into those full-back areas. And I think, as much as people are saying Premier League, I think he's arguably going to be considered the best Premier League centre-back we've ever seen. Alongside your Rio Ferdinands, John Terry's, those type of guys. I think he is that good.
His vote was for Van Dijk.
Yeah, no, I understand, generally speaking, in terms of what he's saying in terms of his qualities, but I suppose you just have to focus on this season. Now, he's had a fantastic season, and clearly he's in the running. We're agreed on that. We're talking about small margins here. I just think with Van Dijk, on occasion, again, heresy to say it, but I'm going to say it, he's got to just guard against that kind of, that almost like God complex, in terms of he knows how good he is.
And how did you ward off the God complex?
Stations to the Cross every Sunday afternoon.
No, I know what you mean. He can find it too easy sometimes.
Yeah, but there's a difference between finding it too. He finds it easy because he's that good. I'm in agreement with Gary on that. But there's a difference between having those kind of feelings and having that, you know, I know how good I am, and actually letting it affect your performances ever so slightly. And I get a sense of Van Dijk on occasion. Really?
Yeah.
Really? Do I have to? Oh, come on. You know, I don't have to do I really have to track back? You just get a little bit of, you know, lack of concentration, a bit of, just a slight lackness to his play that he has to kind of guard against. So I don't say, Breen mentioned a couple of centre-halves there, said the best centre-half, we'd agree on them as well, the likes Terry
Ferdinand and Terry, I
think.
Fair.
But I'd put like John Woodgate for me, I'd put Ledley King down often, they'd be up in my reckoning. But those plays, and you never got a sense of that. Now, people might argue, well, Van Dijk's even better than them. He may well prove to be even better to them. But those other players centre halves, I never got a sense of that, how they carried themselves, and that maybe Ferdinand maybe a little bit had a touch of that about him. But there more than one occasion, Van Dijk, just occasionally in games when I just think, well, you just get your focus back here. We know you're good. We know how good you are.
Never in the bigger games, I would put it to you.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably right, because then the focus is absolutely spot on. But I'll say it again, there's been times this season, from a defensive point of view, Liverpool, you could pick holes. You could pick holes with them. 22 points clear. I know the counter-arguments come in, you're embarrassing yourself, but...
And they keep a lot of clean sheets. They win a lot of games 1-0.
Yeah, call it as I said, but that's why I'm just a little bit worried in the Champions League. Because, well, any small problems they've had, Joe, you'd look at the Champions League in terms of the group stages, and I don't think there's any surprise when you go up a level in terms of quality of opposition, and particularly in terms of opposition forward players across the pitch, front three, little number 10s, clever little operators. Any little bit of lackness there, or even a little bit of frailty in that kind of deep midfield position that I'm talking about. Someone like Fabinho, a very good player, very good footballer, but doesn't quite see the day. Maybe hasn't quite got the legs to react in. You couldn't get done very easily in the knockout stages of the Champions League. Kieran
in Dublin 15 sent this earlier. Delighted to hear Kenny back in the airwaves. I'm not ashamed to say I thought he was talking out of his arse when he said that Fabinho would not be missed when he was out injured for Liverpool, and that Henderson would be better suited to the role. And now Henderson tipped to be Player of the Year. It turns out all those years playing top-level football has taught young Kenny a thing or two. That's an apology. That's as close you get to an apology. I got to take a short ad break. There's actually quite a few things I do want to talk to you about. I'll get your thoughts on United and Solskjær, who you're calling Solskjær, by the way.
Solskjær?
Yeah.
Really?
You were, yeah.
Solskjær.
You were calling him Sky. Solskjær. Anyway, I'll get your thoughts on United. And also, an interesting kind of story this. I mean, you can give us an insight into what it was like in your day even, but Bournemouth have made a complaint about John Moss, the referee, because it seems he was making snide jokes to them on the pitch about the fact that they were in the relegation zone. So we'll talk about referees and whether that's a normal thing or not. We'll be back in 1 sec with Kenny Cunningham.
This is OTB AM.
On this morning's OTB AM, Paul Rouse gave his reaction to the annual GAA report.
He then comes out with a line which says, to me, that's not revolutionary. Now, if he does those 8 things, it will revolutionise the operation and the experience of GAA members around the country.
And Stephen Ferris had his say on Will Addison.
I did want to ask you about Will Addison.
I don't know why though, Ger. Somebody who's played so little rugby over the last couple of months to be thrown into an international jersey, like it doesn't add up.
Join us tomorrow morning from 7:30, where Kieran Donaghy will be with us for this week's Shot Clock, and Kenny Cunningham will also be with him in studio.
OTB AM, Ireland's only sports breakfast show, weekdays from 7:30 AM, only on OTB Sports Radio, live 24/7 on the Go Loud app.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power, the greatest football partnership since Jeff and Heskey.
Now, welcome back, Kenny Cunningham.
Have a great evening with
studio. Woof. Are we okay there? Are we okay there?
See why we're trusted by over 130,000 women in Ireland.
Come the day and come the hour. The time has come to get behind your team. Be part of all the Six Nations at D2, the home of sports. Watch all the games with action as epic as our 20-foot monster screen. Soak up the atmosphere with tempting matchday specials. Then keep the buzz going with music through the night. So why not give it your all? Answering Ireland's call. For reservations, email info@d2.ie. D2, the home of sports.
House.
Digs.
Gaff. Pad.
Home.
However you say it, we all deserve a place to call home. I'm David from Harvey Norman, Little Island. With our customer support since 2018, we have raised over €350,000 for Peter McCurry Trust. This February, we are fundraising to reach an overall total of €450,000. All money raised will help those experiencing homelessness. Attend our fundraising events in store or go to harveynorman.ie and help us reach our goal.
No! At Centra, you'll fall in love with our Valentine's offer. Until February 14th, you can pick up an inspired by Centra sourdough pizza and selected bottles of Carmen Insigne wine for just €10. Choose from sweet tomato and buffalo mozzarella or prosciutto and spicy salami. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Minimum wage? Of course it should be higher. But higher wages could make it tougher for businesses. Then again, doesn't everyone deserve a fair wage? But if you increase it, do you have to increase wages for more experienced staff? It's about having a decent standard of living and keeping Ireland competitive too. Every year, the Low Pay Commission makes recommendations to the government on the national minimum wage. Right now, we want as many opinions as possible to present a truly balanced view. Visit gov.ie/Low Pay Commission before March 6th and have your say on the minimum wage.
The SEAT Open Week runs from the 10th to the 15th of February. Interested? What if we said the entire range comes with 0% PCP finance that also guarantees the minimum future value of your SEAT? Or the fact that you can download an online discount voucher worth up to €2,000? And you can enjoy a 3-year service plan for just €299. Visit SEAT.ie and get moving to your local authorised dealer from February 10th to the 15th. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Bank GmbH Branch Ireland is authorised by the Federal Financial Supervisory Authority in Germany and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules. Visit seat.ie/201 for further information.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back. Kenny Cunningham in studio. So Bournemouth contact Premier League over referee John Moss's sarky remarks, is the phrase used there.
I'm glad I wasn't there. Not report every time I make a sarcastic remark.
Bournemouth have opened dialogue with the Premier League regarding the alleged conduct of referee John Moss during Sunday's defeat at Sheffield United. The club has not submitted a formal complaint, but is in dialogue with the league after Bournemouth players felt the referee mocked them. Midfielder Dan Gosling accused Moss of showing zero respect and by making, quote, niggly and sarky comments towards him and his teammates. He said that the officials talk about respect at the start of the season. There was zero respect from John Moss, said Gosling. I thought he was a disgrace. The comments he made, especially to me and one other player, talking about the relegation zone, saying things like, you're still in the relegation zone, or you're having one, I presume he means a nightmare, or your team's having one, I presume he means a nightmare, and this and that, very disrespectful. I thought it was disrespectful what he was saying. Asked if the alleged comments were made during the match, Gosling said, during the game, yeah. I think he should come out and apologise. He was a disgrace. Referees, Kenny.
I'm cringing. Cringing listening to that.
Who are you cringing for? John Moss telling Dan Gosling he's having one? Or Bournemouth for getting so angry about it?
Bournemouth, I think that's weak. I think it's really weak, and I'd be worried. I'd be more worried reading those comments than maybe the nature some of their performances of late, because using that as an excuse, jumping on that betrays a bit of, like, I don't know, almost panic within the football club in terms, if they're grasping at that, feeling hard done by and pursuing that all the way up to the league. I mean, I'd be worried. And that doesn't strike me as a team which is kind of confident in itself and don't worry about referees, don't worry about these conditions, and that, you know, we're okay, the dressing room's all right, we'll just get on and we'll prove people wrong next week. We've got kind of confidence in each other. That betrays a sense of almost panic for me within the dressing room. If I was Eddie Howe, obviously he's pursuing it. Eddie Howe, he's allowed his players to come out, and the club is contacting. But you can see how this is playing out, Joe. You know, the players are like bang on the referee's case and giving them some chirping away, and there's a, you know, we're constantly being told referees are too aloof. You can't talk to them, you can't approach them, they don't know. Yeah. And then a referee turns around and actually engages with a player. Yeah, I'm sure there might have been a sarcastic comment thrown in there. Come on, got to suck it up.
Well, you don't have to take that from a referee.
No, leave it out, Joe. You got to suck it up for your man's game. I mean,
who does John Moss think he is?
No,
he needs manners put on him, no?
No.
He does, Kenny. Who's John Moss to be saying to these lads that you're having one? Can John Moss even kick a football?
But we're laughing. That's funny. That's a natural reaction. You're laughing at, aren't you? You'd be giving him some back. Is he carrying a bit of timber, John Moss, you want me asking? Is that the same referee, is it?
Well, I'll Google that, but hang on a second.
You can imagine how this is going. But that's what you'd be saying back to him, wouldn't it?
Are you telling me if the players were saying stuff to Moss, he mightn't yellow card them? Like, it's not a level playing field, and he's there, you're having one. Who does he think he is?
Don't yellow card, you can have a little. I'm not talking about, like, their personal jibes at him.
He looks like he's been to Burdocks with you a few times.
A few bad sausages. Yeah. Yeah, but you can imagine how anybody spent any time, and I'm not even talking the professional game, any type of level. Joe, you'll know. A bit of dialogue with the referee, a little bit back. Yeah, I'm sure Mike Royle will be sitting down. John, look, draw the line, professional etiquette and la. But come on.
Get on with it.
Yeah, get on with it. Get on with it. Suck it up. Particularly after a defeat, always sounds... Do you know what? If they had gone and won the game 2-0 and you come out with it, maybe so. But having lost the game, sour gripes, looking to divert into different areas, I don't like to hear. I really don't.
Yeah, okay. What was dialogue like with referees in your day? Could you get away with having... Would they have jibes at you?
I don't think it's changed.
All that much? Would they have jibes at you?
I don't remember personally getting here. I wasn't
What did they say
moaner.
to you? What did they say to you?
I wasn't a real moaner. I'm trying to give you a broad context.
What?
I'm trying to give you a bit of context.
You weren't a real moaner.
I wouldn't have been.
I would say you never shut up with a referee.
No.
Oh my God.
No, I wouldn't have been a big, huge moaner at the referee. Not at all. But I do remember Dermot would have been the best. Gallagher, yeah. But then that wouldn't be easy. He was a season ticket holder at Lansdowne. Dermot used to be over every hurling game. Even having a drink with him after the game.
Oh, really?
I didn't have a good dialogue with Dermot. You wouldn't have a good dialogue with any referee. So Dermot would have been grand. And
let me put it to you this way. So say, like a routine example. You think you're bombing down the right hand side, right back in your pomp.
Never happened, but go ahead. I'll run with it. Yeah.
You've beaten 4 players, then you've nipped it round their fullback, and then he takes you out. And you turn around to the referee, he says, no free. And you say, referee, that was a free. And would he say to you, get up you're having a nightmare? Would that kind of quip be in there?
No, I don't remember too much of that. But then again, I don't envisage that's what's happened in this particular situation. I would have thought the remarks from the Bournemouth players might have been a little bit more cutting to get that type of reaction from the referee. Even still, I think it's pretty weak, Joe.
So you think you think he's retaliating to stuff they're saying?
I think so. Well, I don't think of maybe not of a personal nature, like I'm suggesting in terms of his maybe, body fat.
Can you stop body shaming John Moss here?
He is a bit of a Teletubby in there, I got to be honest with you. But no, I think the whole story's weak. I think it does Bournemouth a bit of a disservice, and it's a little bit of a just annoy into the dressing room in terms of what's going on inside the club. A little bit of
excuse making, grappling for.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's weak.
Interesting. I said I'd ask you about Ole Gunnar Solskjær.
Babyface.
Yeah. So Solskjær. So thus far this season, this year, give us a quick word on this. So New Year's Day, Arsenal beat them 2-0. Then the League Cup, City beat them 3-1. You remember that evening?
Yeah.
I think it was around that week that. Oh, sorry, it wasn't. It was a bit later. But then it was they beat Norwich 4-0 at Old Trafford after that League Cup defeat to City. Then they went to Anfield. They lost 2-0. Then Burnley beat them 2-0 at Old Trafford, evening game. Then I think the next night there was that nonsense at Ed Woodward's house just to add to the general tone. They beat Man City 1-0 away in the League Cup, obviously still went out of the League Cup. And then most recent game at Old Trafford, 0-0 draw with Wolves. So he hasn't, Solskjær, managed to get any kind of run of form to just calm the scrutiny around him and around the club. So where are they?
No, I can understand it, because if you look at the results, performance is just as important for me as well, because invariably it's performances dictate results, and there hasn't been enough good performances this season. It's as simple as that. The argument will be club in transition, committing ourselves to developing younger players, going to take a period of time. Trust me, stay with me. And if you do trust him and you have got confidence in him going forward in terms of the grand master plan there, you absolutely stick with him. But I think there is a reasonable counter argument there to say he's under pressure, and maybe the best thing would be to show him the door at the end of the season. I've always felt he wasn't going anywhere. I've said it before, until the end of the season. I think Woodward's made a commitment to him. I think he'd shame himself if he had shown him the door. And again, I've probably suggested that the reaction of the Manchester United supporters, particularly the hardcore support, in terms of how they react to Solskjær within the confines of Old Trafford in a way, that will be key as well in terms of Woodward's decision-making going forward. You don't quite feel as if he's come to that point, that tipping point, Joe, where he's lost the faithful. I think he's come close. I think that Burnley game was probably as close as he's going to get. The Liverpool game, you could make an argument to quite the Liverpool team, brush them aside, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But again, losing at home to Burnley, for me, that was possibly his most difficult moment. But he's kind of weathered to a certain extent, got the 1-0 like you suggested. 0-0 at home to Wolves isn't a disgrace. Very talented team, Wolves.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be a case. I think it's going to sit tight till the end of the season. I think I'll be very interested in terms of getting inside Woodward's head, what he's thinking. I think it'll be dependent on who's available at the end of the season as well. Pochettino clearly, maybe one or two others. I'm not sure if he's even made that decision yet. I think he's under pressure, and I think rightly so. But I couldn't dismiss him. I wouldn't go as far as to say, I think I'm talking about some people being too theatrical in terms of, he's out of his depth, doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But I'd never got that far, because sometimes I've seen him line up that team since he's been in the job. Was it over a year now? They had that discussion on Sky not too long ago. They couldn't come to an agreement how long exactly it was, but just before Christmas.
18 months,
yeah,
18 months.
16, 14, whatever. But there's been enough games in there in terms of how he set the team up that I've thought, spot on.
Yeah, he's come up with some very interesting formations.
Yeah, we saw them split strikers a couple of times, especially when Lukaku was at the club, and even the game against Manchester City this season when they went there and won. And that kind of counter-attacking game, but it was brilliant.
And Liverpool away, I mean, they lost 2-0 obviously, but I mean, they put pressure on the Liverpool fullbacks, and he had a plan. And
exactly, and it made sense. And even that night for me, in terms of that back three, Luke Shaw, I had a couple of, Luke Shaw play, he's not even a centre-half. Look, when you play a back three, you don't need to be a centre-half to play in that back three. Yeah. In fact, if I was ideally putting a back three out, two of those three would be full-backs in my ideal back three, because in that system you end up in natural full-back positions anyway. So for me, I want somebody so Luke Shaw there for me was smart, because for me he actually handles Mo Salah very well. One of the very few players who has a similar size, lower body strength, could actually deal with Salah when he planted his feet. Very few people can. I've seen defenders 6'2", built like tanks, you absolutely get muscled, haven't got that low centre of gravity to deal with Salah. Yeah. I thought Luke Shaw did it very well, and I don't think that was a coincidence that he ended up there. I think that was a factor in terms of why Solskjær put him there. Yeah. So there's been enough of those decisions. In terms of, you can't just dismiss him as, tactically inept, doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah. That doesn't stand up.
Very quickly before we go, this hour's flown by. I haven't got to half the stuff I wanted to. I know you wanted to get into Champions League stuff. We're not even going to get to that. Two quick things on Ireland, Estonia. So Mick McCarthy was over during the week talking about different things, and Troy Parrott, and he's disappointed Parrott's not got on loan and that kind of stuff. Two key players potentially, and Shane Long is one of them, back in form. He's now, I presume, in your eyes, with 8 starts in Southampton's last 11, scored 1, 3 assists. Is he now nudging his way back onto that bench and a real, almost first option for Mick off the bench? Or Aaron Connolly, him between him and Aaron Connolly?
Certainly on the bench. Yeah. Certainly on the bench.
And then James McCarthy is sort of back in the mix. Glenn Whelan's joined Fleetwood with Joey Barton there, so he'll be moving, he'll be running around. So Whelan in the mix, James McCarthy in the mix. So there's a few more options for McCarthy, but he's not going to veer too much off the beaten track.
No, but James McCarthy's significant for me. I saw him play a couple of weeks for the first time at Manchester City, and I really watched him closely. I was really impressed. Just in terms of physically, he's been out for so long in terms of injuries. Some players just never get back to the level physically where they were at. So I was really fascinated. I looked at him at that game as much as I could, and I was really impressed how he was moving over the ground. And he gave a really accomplished display actually in and out of possession. He was reading the play well. He was shifting his body across the pitch, making tackles, making interceptions, really aggressive up against people. And when he got on the ball, he was crisp and efficient how he used it. But he was breaking the lines with his passing. This wasn't sideways passing and back to the centre halves in full pass. This was looking to play forward. Crisp 10, 15-yard passes, breaking the lines.
So he could force his way in.
Absolutely, because that's what we've been screaming out for, that type of player. You could argue to play not in place of Glenn, but actually alongside Glenn in a natural central midfield pairing. 2 defence-minded players who you can trust to hold the centre of that pitch and say almost to your front four, with the game away that we've got coming up, go and get us a goal. We'll sit here in front of the back four and we'll ensure the clean sheet.
Okay, interesting. We've got to take a short break. By the way, West Brom have scored a second against Reading, so 91 minutes on the clock. West Brom are 2-1 up away to Reading. I'll give you the other scores in just a sec.
Off the ball on News Talk.
Have a great evening with itsforwomen.ie. Don't live your life on hold. Get a quote now at itsforwomen.ie and see why we're trusted by over 130,000 women in Ireland.
I'm Peter Jones. Lifting business performance is critical in today's uncertain times. But how do you keep up with changing regulations and rising demands? How do you break free from manual processes to raise productivity? The answer is technology that elevates performance and comes with industry-leading support. Over 1 million businesses, including my investment group, trust Sage to manage their finances, operations and people.
Elevate your business today with our free performance review. Visit sage.com/ie/perform.
In Thursday's Irish Independent, don't miss Exam Brief in partnership with Yates College, your essential Leaving Cert exam guide. Each subject will be explored in depth with advice on study techniques, exam answer strategy and timings. This week, explore Leaving Cert Sciences with unmissable tips on how to stay ahead of the curve. Only inside Thursday's Irish Independent.
Free yourself from fees with the An Post Money current account when you shop with any of our money back partners, like Lidl, Intersport Elveries, An Post Insurance and Supermax. Customers have earned as much as €200 in a month. Search An Post Money current account or visit your local post office to find out how you can free yourself from fees. An Post Money current account for your world. Money back is based on spend with selected money back partners. See onpost.com. Terms and conditions apply. An Post is authorised by the Minister for Finance to provide payment services and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland in the provision of such services.
Your heart pumps 7,000 litres of blood each day. It beats over 40 million times per year. When was the last time you got yours checked? Beacon Hospital's Rapid Access Cardiology Clinic offers complete cardiac screening to help you maintain a healthy heart. Be heart smart this February. For more information, call 01 9123 999. This is modern medicine. This is Beacon Hospital.
Every Ford car is designed to stop you in your tracks, just like our amazing 201 test drive event. Take a test drive this February for unbeatable savings. Get 2 years free motor tax, a registration bonus of up to €1,750 and a 3.9% low APR. But that's not all. You'll also get a 7-year warranty and 7-year roadside assist. This offer ends February 29th, 2020. Don't miss out. Book a test drive at your local participating Ford dealer. The 201 test drive event, as part of our 201 sales event, only at Ford. Terms and conditions apply. See Ford.ie. Offer on selected vehicles only. Applicable to new vehicle orders and registrations between February 1st and February 29th.
You're right. That bed would make a good blanket fort. We make them up fresh every day anyway. No, that's okay. Leave some room for ice cream. We don't really like broccoli either. Shh. Let Mum finish that coffee. She'll need it for all those activities today. At Clayton Hotels, we make family moments easy, so you can just enjoy them. Book your spring break today at claytonhotels.com. Clayton Hotels, where every moment matters.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back. So, championship scores to give you. We have full times: Bristol 3, Derby 2. We have Huddersfield 0, Cardiff 3. We have Luton Town beating Sheffield Wednesday by a goal to 0. We have Millwall 1, Fulham 1. And then it's just gone full time. A big 3 points for West Brom. They've beaten Reading by 2-1 away from home as well. And at the Britannia, it finished Stoke City 0, Preston 2. So a few bits to remind you of. On Monday, 17th of February, that's next Monday, we're live from the Alex Hotel in Dublin, previewing Champions League's knockout stages. Brian Kerr, Damien Delaney, Keith Andrews and Graham Souness there. If you want to be there too, get on to offtheball.com/events. And remember, it's an over-18s event only. OTBAM coming at you tomorrow, 7:30. You can get it on all our social channels and listen on OTB Sports Radio via the Go Loud app. The lads will have some Brian O'Driscoll for you on the show. They'll have Kieran Donaghy on the shot clock. And Kenny Cunningham, you animal. Back on it tomorrow morning.
Oh, early riser, Joe.
Kenny Cunningham back on tomorrow morning as well.
The lads get upset when I pop my head in.
It's incredible. Do you have burdocks in the morning? You do as well. Tomorrow night we're back at 7. Tommy Welch, Shane Supple amongst others, and Tom Dunn is on the way next. Kenny, good to have you back. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.
Cheers, Joe.
All right, night everyone.
I'll give you a move for the perfect pass. Give him a ball and he out of space.